Hosted by you/several lobster 3237. My fiancé, 29M, and I, 28F, have been engaged for 3 months and dating for 2.5 years. Everything was going great, and we were very happy, but recently we started having some issues. We are not having a wedding ceremony, mainly because we want to start having children soon and don't want to spend that kind of money. Both of our families live abroad, so it would be very expensive to fly everyone out. Instead, we plan to reserve that money for a down payment on our house. We decided to buy a house together, then get legally married and start our family once we are settled. This is where the issues began. I come from a family of farmers, the fruit and vegetable kind, not the animal type, on both sides, but my parents are not farmers. My dream has always been to have a farm for personal use, not as a job, but my fiancé doesn't want that, and I've accepted it. However, one thing that is non-negotiable for me is my chickens. I have 10 chickens, and he knows that, so when house hunting, I was looking for a house with a decent backyard to raise them freely, as they do at the house I'm renting now. He started getting distant and avoiding me after I told him I planned to bring my chickens to our new house, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I asked him a week later. After a week of being avoided, I decided to go to his house to talk things out this past Saturday. I asked him what was wrong, and he said that he thought I would get rid of my chickens before we moved in together. That's why he was putting up with it, but he didn't want chickens in our house. He said it was making him reconsider our relationship because, in his words, he didn't want someone who came with baggage, and then he asked me to get rid of my chickens. This made me extremely angry, and I admit that I lost it. I started hysterically crying and told him that my chickens were more important to me than our relationship. Not true at all. I said this without thinking, in a state of panic. I told him that if he was not willing to accept that my chickens were coming with me, then we were done. I got in my car and went home, where I spent the whole day crying. He tried calling me, but I didn't pick up because I didn't want to say more things I didn't mean, which I explained to him in a message. On Sunday, I was feeling better and decided to call him, and we agreed to meet for coffee that afternoon to talk about it. I started by apologizing for what I had said and explained that it wasn't how I felt at all. He told me that he knew I didn't mean it and that he didn't hold it against me. I decided to be honest with him and told him about the farm dream, how it had always been my life's dream and how not being able to have it was affecting me, especially since we could easily afford it. We are both engineers and have decent salaries. I assured him he wouldn't need to do anything on the farm. I also admitted that I hadn't realized the impact this had on me until he asked me to get rid of my chickens, which, as strange as it may sound, I love like my own children. Being asked to let go of the last piece of my childhood dream just set me off. He said I was being selfish and that he needed some time to think because he wasn't sure if this was how he wanted his life to be from now on, which I accepted, though, to be honest, I don't understand. I talked to my best friend about this, and she told me to just give up the farm dream, insinuating that I was in the wrong, though I assumed she didn't want to say it directly. My fiancé and I haven't talked since, and I'm giving him the space he needs to think about our situation. Am I really in the wrong here? I genuinely don't understand why this is such a big deal, and it feels like he must not love me as much as I thought he did if he doesn't want my dreams to come true. It's eating me alive. Any advice is appreciated, but please don't be too harsh. Update 1 week later. Hello, I wanted to give an update to my post since a lot has happened in a week, and honestly, I need to get it off my chest. I also wanted to thank everyone for sharing their thoughts on the situation and taking the time to respond. Now, onto the update. I guess this does not come as a surprise to anyone, myself included, but we broke up. There is a lot more to the story than what I knew, and honestly, I'm still trying to process everything that has happened. After almost a week of no contact, he called me on Friday and told me he wanted to talk to me as soon as possible. I told him to wait for me at my house, and I would go there once I was done with work. I got home at 9 p.m. and found him drunk on my couch, crying while hugging his dog. Why was his dog in my house? I had no clue either. By the time I got home, he was way too drunk to have a conversation with me, so I put him to bed and decided we would talk the next day. I woke up first, so I started cleaning the kitchen, which he had made a mess of trying to find any booze, but at some point, he came in, looked me straight in the eyes, and said, "I'm moving to New York, we are over," before even saying good morning. After that, he tried to leave, but I grabbed him and asked him to explain himself. We talked, and he finally explained. He told me that before everything happened, he had been thinking about living on a farm, and the more he thought about it, the more he liked the idea. He said he was considering suggesting it to me again, after previously saying there was no way he could live that way and to just forget about it. Then he told me everything that had been happening recently. Apparently, a day before he started ignoring me, his boss informed him about a vacancy for a role he could take at the main office in New York. He was working at a branch in our city. He asked for a day to think about it, but he really wanted to take the position. He talked to his mom about it, and she told him it was a good idea, suggesting that we both move to New York together and start a new life as a family. After that, he decided to call my best friend, I don't know why, and she told him that I would never approve of moving to New York and that he shouldn't even suggest it because I would get mad. She said he should either move alone or reject the job but not tell me. This makes me sound horrible, but I swear I can communicate. I have no idea why she said that. Afterward, he called his mom again and told her that he was moving to New York alone and breaking off our engagement. His mom told him that it was a horrible idea and that he should just reject the offer because he was getting old and needed to start a family soon. Mind you, this man is pushing 30 and still doing everything his mom tells him, so of course, he decided to do just that. The next day, he rejected the offer, and that's when he started ignoring me. During the week he was ignoring me, he thought about everything and decided that the best idea was to make me sacrifice things too, so he wouldn't feel bad about rejecting the job offer anymore. Miserable but together, basically delulu LMFAO. So, it started with him asking me to get rid of the chickens. He called me selfish, saying he had given up a lot for me, but I wasn't willing to give up my pets for him. Mind you, I didn't even know he had rejected the job offer. He then asked for time to think about our engagement because he didn't feel any better after asking me to give up something. He said he needed to figure out how far he should go to feel better about rejecting the job offer, or if he'd even feel better at all after I gave up almost everything for him. The audacity of this man. Lamau. So, basically, the chickens were never the issue. He was just trying to make me feel miserable because he was. On Friday, he came to the conclusion that he didn't hold enough power over me to make me give up everything for him, so he decided to just move to New York alone and break up with me. He contacted his boss to ask if the job offer was still available, but after 2 weeks, it obviously wasn't. However, there was a lower position available, worse than his current job, and since he had already made up his mind, he just took it. That's when he called me and told me he needed to talk to me ASAP. He went home, picked up his dog, which is too big to bring to an apartment, so he's getting rid of it by giving it to me, according to him, and came to my house to drink everything I had in my home. After telling me all of this, he decided it was an amazing idea to ask for the ring back. But after everything he said, there's no way I'm not selling it and keeping the money. That's the situation we're in now. He left after that, and of course, he left the dog at my house. This weekend was hard. It's weird to go from engaged to single, but it's better to break it off now than after I've given up everything for him and we have children caught in the middle of it all. I'm also trying to figure out whether my best friend is really my best friend. I didn't go into detail, but this beeping bot dragged me through the mud to my ex, but that's another story. I also contacted my boss today and asked if there was any possibility of working from home full-time. I currently work from home 4 days a week and go to the office on Fridays, and it might be possible in a few months, so I'm very excited to move further away from the city and get my dream farm. Hopefully, I'll find a farm man to build my dream farm and start a big family with, haha. But for now, I'm focusing on myself and my chickens, and I'm going to buy a coop like those in the movies with little seats for each one that look like a tiny house, because after all this, I feel like I deserve it. Anyway, I'm doing better than I expected, and I'm loving having his Saint Bernard in my house. It makes it feel a lot fuller, and I love it. I don't know if anyone wanted an update, but that's it. Hope you enjoyed. If anyone has any tips on how to get over all of this, let me know, haha.